what's the difference between Western art and Eastern art? So this is a comparison I recently heard on one of Hamosi's podcasts, who's this quite famous online entrepreneur. And he was essentially like, for Western art, it's about having a blank canvas and adding things to it so it looks beautiful at the end. Whereas in Eastern art, so in Asia, it was more about starting off with something, let's say a slab of stone, and then you gradually remove things until it's a sculpture or a piece of art. And he made the point that in Western art, it's about adding things, whereas in Eastern art, it's about removing things. And this was quite interesting because when I thought about how I make art in my own life, I always used to think I had to add things. If I'm not achieving a certain goal or I'm not living the life I want, I need to add certain things in order to make my life better. But what if I viewed it from the opposite way? What if what I needed was not more things, but I needed to take things away? For example, taking away distractions, taking away my university degree so I focus on my work, taking away, I don't know, other things, bad friends. Maybe the life I want and the life I would dream is not going to achieve by adding in a bunch of new things. I'm not going to achieve that life by adding in more jobs. I'm not going to achieve that by adding in more workout routines or more like work sessions, but rather getting rid of the things that are holding me back. And so this entire comparison was quite interesting because it just forced me to see that growth doesn't always have to be additive. You don't always have to be adding things into your life in order to grow and feel like you're growing. Instead, maybe the next step for you, and maybe the biggest constraint, is by removing something that is secretly holding you back. So, as I mentioned before, maybe that's bad friends, maybe that's bad influences, maybe that's going to school, maybe. Obviously, there's nuance to that, and it varies on a case by case. But I would always ask yourself, what can you take away? Because ultimately for life, I don't think life is like Western art or Eastern art where it's one or the other, where you have to be adding things or you have to be taking things. But there's going to be different stages of your life where it's going to be more dominant or more leaning towards one particular art style. And oftentimes I find myself, and I find most people, defaulting to the additive style, the Western style. But maybe it's the other style, the removing things, that's going to be the key to your next breakthrough. So I just want to share that lesson with you. Hope that was helpful.